Should cruise lines be required to notify guests of any travel advisories for the ports of call on a cruise? Well, we're going to discuss a story this week of two women who are suing Carnival after being attacked in the Bahamas, saying they should have been warned of the danger. Ahoy travelers, it's Amy here with your weekly Cruise News Roundup and my thoughts on some of the biggest stories of the week. The big story I want to talk about this week has to do with two women who were assaulted while on a beach in the Bahamas. But before we do, let's get into some lighthearted cruise news first. So how worried are you about wrinkled clothing while on a cruise? For those who are wishing for a way to iron their clothes while on board, the newly advertised mini travel iron that claims to be cruise approved is not going to be allowed on Carnival ships. Yesterday, Carnival Ambassador John Heald addressed this issue on his Facebook page after being asked about it multiple times. John Heald said, "Let me start by saying I am sure this is a wonderful product sold by a fabulous company. However, as people have been asking me today, I want to address this. I think that this has really gone on. People are seeing it in their social media ads. I haven't seen it yet, but apparently quite a few people had. The question is, has this really been approved for use on the ships? The answer is no. This is not approved by us, and I would doubt, although it's not for me to say, other cruise lines also. Again, I'm sure it's a wonderful product, but we will not allow it on board, and it would be confiscated." So I'm in agreement with the majority of people that commented on John's post. Basically, if you're worried about wrinkles, bring some Downy wrinkle releaser. Almost all of Carnival's ships have a self-service laundrette where you can iron your clothes as well. I just can't imagine caring one way or the other about a few wrinkles. Anyone who has cruised before will know that you will see people wearing just about anything on a ship, especially a Carnival one. I swear, after our last cruise, I said to my mother, I'm not sure why I care at all about how I look after seeing what some people wear, especially when poolside. Have you ever worried about wrinkles on your clothing while cruising? Do you use the laundrette to iron your clothes? What about Downy Wrinkle Releaser? I bring it every time and I've never used it. Well, what is your home port? For us, New Orleans is the closest at 9 hours away, but Galveston comes in a second at a mere 11 hours away. If Galveston is your home port, then you will be excited to learn, or maybe excited to learn, that a new line and ship is for sure headed your way. We have known for a while that talks were in the works for a new line to port out of Galveston, but this week, Galveston Wharves and MSC Cruises finalized a 20-year agreement that includes a fourth terminal complex to be built at the Port of Galveston. Beginning in November of 2025, the MSC Seascape will home port out of a new $100 million cruise terminal. This will only increase the number of cruisers leaving out of Galveston and help solidify the port as one of the top in the U.S. Is this something that you're looking forward to? If I wasn't so tired of Western Caribbean ports, I mean, that's all we've done for the last multiple cruises. And I think it's all Mother has done it all. I could see booking a future cruise on the Seascape just to try it out. For right now, though, we're focusing on new ports as well as trying out new lines. Have you ever sailed on the Carnival Vista? Well, we were on the ship last fall and actually enjoyed it. I for sure liked it more than one of my coworkers who told me that I wouldn't like it. For the last month, the Vista has been in dry dock getting some upgrades and changes. She's now out of dry dock and headed to her new port of Port Canaveral, and it was finally announced what changes were made to the Vista. First, she now shines with the signature red, white, and blue livery of Carnival. There were rumors that said the Vista would be losing its IMAX theater as it would be turned into another casino area. Well, that didn't happen. However, the Thrill Theater was turned into a video arcade, with the old arcade becoming Club O2, the teen club. The Vista did get that new non-smoking casino area, but it's in the old Club O2 space. The Lido Marketplace also got a facelift. This seems about the right number of changes for a month-long dry dock. Would any of these updates and changes entice you to book a cruise on the Vista? None of them are in areas that I would frequent, so they wouldn't influence my cruising one way or the other. Well, before we get into the big story of the week, I do want to thank everyone, especially those that have been around for a while and are regular viewers and commenters. I see you. Because this last week, our channel was officially monetized on YouTube. It's been about a year of steady work and I hope improvements. I love bringing you all cruise news, tips, and then information on the ships we sail and ports we visit. I can't wait to see what the next year brings. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, now is a great time to do so. Be sure to also hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on all the content headed your way, including more videos on our recent Carnival Jubilee cruise. You will especially not want to miss out on the upcoming videos on the Jubilee bars, because there's a lot of them, and the included restaurants. So it's time to get serious. There has been a cruise news story hitting mainstream news outlets this week. That's how you know it's a big deal. Of two women who were assaulted while on a beach in the Bahamas. They were on a Carnival cruise and had port stops in Freeport where they decided to spend the day at a popular beach resort. Most people who keep up with cruising and cruise news will know that the U.S. issued an increased level advisory, a level 2, for the Bahamas back in late January due to an increase in violent crime in the country. Now, this was issued mostly due to gang violence. It was just a week later that the two women embarked on their cruise, oblivious to the dangers. In an interview, the women stated they were offered a 2-for-1 drink deal by an employee of the resort that turned out to be drugged, which was confirmed through toxicology reports. They were then led off to a secluded area of the beach where the assault occurred. Two men were arrested and the investigation is ongoing. However, Pirate Cove, that's the resort where this occurred, later made a statement that, quote, upon further review of the surveillance videos, the allegations made on the site and in subsequent social media posts and news stories conflict with what the time-stamped surveillance videos contain. They did not go into detail on what exactly those conflicts are. They did turn all video evidence over to authorities. However, the resort did fire 2 male employees for what they stated were actions seen on video that, quote, indicates that at minimum, they violated our zero tolerance policy, end quote. There have been conflicting statements, and the interview doesn't really specify as to whether the women booked this excursion through Carnival or independently. However, Carnival does offer an excursion to Pirate Cove. I will admit to having some questions while watching the interview with the two women involved. Not that I didn't believe their story, it's just there was some stuff in there that I just would have liked to have asked some more questions about. If you go and watch the video, maybe you'll know what I'm talking about, especially if you're an avid cruiser. But this is obviously a tragic story, and I can't imagine having to go through what they went through. While on our last cruise, we booked an all-inclusive beach excursion in Costa Maya that had Mom and I in a taxi for around 30 minutes driving through the middle of nowhere to get to this beach. We're talking miles and miles of road without a building in sight. Now, I wasn't really worried, but talk about being where someone could leave you out in the middle of nowhere, never to be seen again. Now, it's my experience that cruise lines do let cruisers know about travel advisories. It's often posted in their daily newsletter and mentioned in talks about the port. Now, I can't say whether or not this was done on their cruise specifically. However, I believe that they cruised the same week we did. They were on a different Carnival ship, but they cruised the same week we did. Now, during our cruise, we went to Roatan. So in the fun letter, because I always keep these, and I did look, because I was pretty sure this happened. On the back of the fun letter, right here, it says, the U.S. Embassy has issued a travel advisory for Honduras. If going outside Mahogany Bay, please remain in the main tourist areas or consider an organized tour. Be aware of your surroundings and refrain from wearing excessive jewelry or carrying large sums of cash or other valuables. For safety reasons, we discourage rentals of scooters or jet skis. Now, I don't know what would have been posted on an advisory for the Bahamas, but I find it hard to believe that Carnival didn't have this on the back of their fun news. Having said that, in the interview, the attorney for these women claimed that cruise lines have a legal responsibility to make this announcement. But I'm actually unaware of any official law or statute that says that. It may exist, but I was unable to locate one. I did try. I went out there, I tried all the things I could to Google it, couldn't find anything not specific to this. Even so, it is not unusual for guests to ignore or overlook warnings put out by cruise lines. Happens all the time. There was just like a month or so ago, somebody really mad at Carnival because they got turned around at a cruise port, I think in Jamaica, for wearing camouflage. You're not allowed to wear camouflage in Jamaica. I don't really remember what cruise port it was, but that's one of them. And they were mad that they weren't told. But it was actually listed in the Fun Times, and people on their cruise said that the cruise director had made multiple announcements about it. So just because people say they didn't hear about it doesn't mean the cruise line didn't actually make the announcement. Regardless of whether cruise lines are legally obligated to warn passengers or not, it's ultimately up to you, the traveler, to familiarize yourself with the areas that you're going to be visiting, including checking to see if any advisories have been issued for those areas. You can go to travel.state.gov to see all travel advisories issued by the U.S. government. If you would like to watch the entire interview, you can find the full 10-minute interview on X, where it was posted by Chris Cuomo. Have you ever been to Freeport? What about Pirate Cove Beach Resort? Now, I have intentionally avoided cruising to any ports in the Bahamas due to everything I've heard about those ports. The possibility of danger wasn't really even a main factor in that, but instead, that there really doesn't seem to be a lot to do in places like Freeport and Nassau. I think this is why so many lines have established their own private islands like Coco Cay and Princess Key, others as well. But let me know in the comments what you think about visiting ports in the Bahamas. Well, are you ready for more information on cruising? Why not stick around and check out this video where I talk about the 5 best and worst things about the new Carnival Jubilee, at least in my opinion, and then come back for more information designed to help you have an amazing cruise. Have a blessed week, everyone.